Sports welcomes you to Superstars of Wrestling. Wrestling fans get set for an hour of action, thrills, and excitement with the finest of professional wrestling entertainment.
Well, we're all prepared for the first match, Superstars of Wrestling. And it brings together Tito Senza, who weighs 244 pounds, and Dino Bravo at 248. So between the two, there's very little to choose in actual weight, but as you can very well see, the bodies are shaped a little different. A little later on in the program, we're going to have Dino Bravo sit in with us. Our past 2 weeks, we've had Tony Parisi, and it became a very popular thing to have one of the pro wrestlers sit in here with us and give you a few interesting facts about what's happening in the ring and about what they know of the wrestlers in the ring. Beautiful reversal by Bravo. Arm drive brings Senza down. Body slamming. Look at the way he picks 244 pounds up in the air. Quick count out and kick out by Senza, and Bravo's on top of him all the way. On the card today, you're going to see Gino Brito, you're going to see Tony Parisi, Mr. Hito, the Farmer, Louis Laurence, Hangman, Poisson, Pretty Boy Ferris, Tony Russo, a lot of stars and superstars of wrestling. Senza working over Bravo in the corner, repeated kicks to the chest, to the back of the head, to the shoulder area, the deltoid, trapezius area of Dino Bravo's shoulder. Referee holding Senza back. Senza pulls away from the ref, comes in, taps Bravo. Whoa, Bravo. Beautiful move, bringing both feet up. Somersault, flip, 1, 2. Senza kicks out. This match is not over by any means. Senza out on the floor, favoring the small of his back. Dino Bravo moving in, trying for the abdominal stretch. Can't go all the way on Senza, and so takes it partially. The way he has Senza, he's not in a position where he has to give up. There's not enough pressure on the back. An interested fan there, taking a look at the proceedings. Bravo can't go underneath. He's not in position to do it, so he gives up the hold and brings Senza back to the mat with the back trip. 2 and a kick out by Senza. Still going strong. Oh, the atomic drop. Bravo covers. 1, 2. Once again, Senza kicks out. Front face lock by Dino. Dino spaces his legs back so that Senza won't be able to lift him. Legs being up would mean shorter distance and easier to lift. That's why the wrestler puts his legs back so that his opponent cannot lift him. Dino whipping Senza, coming off. Drop kick and a press. 1, 2. The leg is on the ropes. Referee halts the count. While Tito Senza is in the corner and he's begging off, Dino Bravo moving in. This is a 10-minute match, as all matches are on Superstars of Wrestling. Bravo really working Senza over in the corner, wearing him down. He might have done the job. Turns him over, press. One. Oh, the foot is on the ropes once again. Oh, suplex. Once again a press. 1, 2. That's it. Winner of the fall. And the match, Dino Bravo. And now for the official announcement.
Le vainqueur, Dino Bravo, the winner.
Wrestling fans who were in Toledo for the last wrestling match watched Bobo Brazil defeat Bobby Colt. Just before defeating Bobby Colt, there was a little bit of interference, or should I say there was a great deal of interference. 400 pounds of big Jim Lancaster came thundering into the ring. Of course, Bobo, with a double head scissors, took both men to the mat. Jim Lancaster faded out, and Bobo Brazil took the fall on Bobby Colt. As a result of all of that, Bobo, I think there's a little animosity now between you and Big Jim Lancaster.
You know, I know I was going to have some trouble with this man, this Big Jim Lancaster, because in the dressing room right next door to me, Big Jim Lancaster was talking to Bobby Colt. Lancaster saying, listen, Jim, listen, Colt, you're going to have trouble with this man. But the thing that Big Jim Lancaster did to me, I want to tell you something. You was telling Bobby Colt he was going to have trouble. But you in for double trouble. When I get you in that ring, Lancaster, your body belongs to me. I never forget, out in California, you heard a very good friend of mine. I haven't forgot that. And you got someone else running around the country. This guy have a big brother. He's supposed to be tough. As long as I have the belt, George, I know everyone is gunning for me. I got to do everything. I got to keep myself in shape. And I keep myself in shape by pushing away from the table. And the fans, they make me feel so good when I get into the ring. They give me the power to go, so no man gonna take the belt away from me. And let me tell you something, Jim Lancaster. If you think that you have any kind of chance, you just forget about it. And I'm sick and tired of talking about you. Take it over, George.
There you go. You wrestling fans in Toledo are in for a great treat when you see Bobo Brazil take on 400 pounds of Big Jim Lancaster.
Sur notre deuxième combat au programme, our second match today. Et naturellement, tout d'abord, il nous arrive dans l'arène derrière moi. À 212 livres de Sherbrooke, à 212 pounds, Georges Guimont. De Montréal, à 238 livres, from Montreal, at 238 pounds, Gino Brito. Et l'arbitre, André Roy.
There you have it, wrestling fans. This second match on the Superstars. And in this match, we bring you Gino Brito, one half of the International Tag Team Champions. And his opponent is Guimont, George Guimont. And wrestling fans, as we promised you earlier in the program, we are now going to bring you, as guest commentator, Dino Bravo.
You know, today, George, it's a great pleasure to be back here on Channel 12 on your show. It's a great opportunity for Montreal fans to get their local guys on television. And this is, I hope, lasts for a long time because it's great to be on Channel 12. I guess the #1 station in all of Canada.
Channel 9.
Channel 9.
And the many other channels that we're on.
That's right. But
don't mean like the other guys.
There's one thing I have to mention here that George realized, because it happens maybe once every 10 or 15 years in wrestling. I think the last time it happened was in Argentina, Rocco, New York. What I'm talking about is a big phenomenon like Jimmy Snuka. He's really revolutionizing the world of wrestling. He's breaking records everywhere, and if you look at him perform, you look at him wrestle, you have to realize why he has to be the greatest athlete there is right now. He's in great physical shape. He's got the killer instinct, but he also can wrestle a long, long time, and he's a winner. And people were waiting for so long to cheer for someone like a guy like Snuka. The acrobatic moves that he makes in the ring, that leaps he does, he calls it Superfly. I think the man right now is just #1 man in wrestling, and it's a great pleasure to have him wrestling in Montreal and all around the area.
Well, you know, as we mentioned 2 weeks ago, that Jimmy Snuka, who was managed at one time by Lord Alfred Hayes,
that's right,
has turned, as they say, the worm has turned because he wouldn't listen to the misdirection of Hayes. He wouldn't listen to the way that Alfred Hayes, but it was in a match with you, right?
That's right, but what was happening, Jimmy's got a problem communicating. He doesn't speak the language, he doesn't speak French or English, and people were abusing him. Lou Albano did the same thing in New York, was robbing him of his money. Hayes had his contract locked up in all of Canada and part of Japan and Africa, and they abused him. And I think Jimmy saw right through it. And it's just great to have him with us because, and to mention something, he wants to wrestle Ace so bad, where Ace turned down the challenge. He's going to wrestle him on St. Valentine's Day in Montreal with an hand tied in his back. Well, we don't want to get away from the action because this is a very exciting match with Gino Brito up there. Anytime Gino's in the ring, I'm emotionally involved because he's my best friend, and I've said many times before, he's the reason I'm in professional wrestling today, and I got many, there's no way for me to thank him. Just the only way he tells me to thank him is to go out there and give everything that I've got, and I owe him that much respect. Gino gets a little upset sometimes when he wrestles people that are a little bit out of shape. Not to put Guimont down, but I think he hasn't been in the gym lately if you look at him closely, and I think Gino gets really aggressive when he sees guys that go out there and they're professional, they don't work out, and I think Guimont's going to have his hands full today.
George Guimont out on the floor.
You look at Gino's expression, and I know he's a little upset right now. The guy wants to stay there and compete with him. I think this match is not going to last too long because Gino's really fired up right now. I could tell.
Well, Gino's the type of wrestler who tolerates a lot before he gets angry.
Well, sometimes. Well, I said many times, he spends 5-6 days a week in the gym, and he's, he doesn't make it a secret. He's 40 years old and he's tip-top shape. He hates to see a young guy like Guimont that doesn't go to the gym too often. See that? That's a good clap right there. I know. He's giving it all he's got right now. It's not going to last too long. Maybe he'll play with him a little bit. He's all fired up. I think Guimont's best move right now would be walk back in his dressing room.
Well, you're not being very kind to another professional wrestler, but I guess maybe you have a point there.
See, that's one thing about wrestling. A lot of times I think it's just the fact that you've been in the YMCA a couple of times and you've beat a couple of guys in the street that you're a professional wrestler. But it's not so, George. You know better than that. You got to stay and you got to live in the gym 5-6 days a week. Because the way the competition is right now in the province of Quebec, you got to be in shape because there's no way you're going to last. But he's going to start losing the legs. Now you think it's funny, right? Where do you think it's funny, Joy? Because he keeps walking out of the ring?
No, I don't think it's funny.
What is mind? Tell me. I want to know what you got in mind, George.
I'll have to tell you someday.
Can you tell me on the air?
No, I can't tell you on the air. Well, Brito has a bear hug, and he's put Guimont on the ropes. And now he stands back very cautiously because if Guimont comes off with a punch, I'm sure that Brito is going to retaliate. 5 minutes have gone in this match. 5 minutes remaining in a 10-minute match. And on Superstars of Wrestling, all matches are 10 minutes. And so far, Guimont has been able to stand up for 5 of them.
Well, I think it's just prolonging it.
Prolonging the agony?
I think so. Just playing with him a little bit. You know, a little bit. Gino gets, he likes to hurt his opponents when he doesn't feel he should be in there competing with him. I know his feeling. I know how he feels.
upset regardless of whether Gino's playing or
The
not.
most frustrating thing is you're upset and you can't do nothing about it.
Well, you can always get a gun, right?
One thing that we have to give, we have to give at least the credit of going out there and wrestling. That's a good. Well, at least he's trying.
He signed for the match, and anytime a man signs to compete, he knows what he's getting into.
This is going to be it. I know. There's the figure 4 leg lock. This is it. This is it. Where's the bell, George?
That's it. The winner of the fall in the match, Gino Brito, and now for the official announcement.
Le vainqueur, the winner, Gino Brito.
A little earlier, we heard talk Bobo Brazil, and Bobo mentioned about an interference in his match, and the man he was talking about is 400-pound Big Jim Lancaster. Fortunately for Bobo, he still defeated Bobby Colt, but that didn't prevent Jim Lancaster from jumping in the ring. Now, these two gentlemen are going to come together in Toledo in a match that Bobo Brazil has requested. And as you can see here, the spokesman for Big Jim Lancaster is none other than Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., and I'm very sure that he's going to have another side to this story. Doctor?
Well, there's been a lot of misinformation going out over this broadcast, which I intend to make right this second. First of all, there was no interference in that match with Bobo Brazil. What happened is Bobby Colt's a good friend of Jim Lancaster's. He came into the ring after the match to help him back to the dressing room, and Brazil attacked him from behind, I might add, for absolutely no reason whatsoever except for the fact he didn't have enough guts to attack him from the front. That's why we are demanding, now Brazil's trying to get out of this, but we have already signed a contract for a United States Championship match in Toledo against Big Jim Lancaster versus Bobo Brazil. Brazil, you're on the run. You think your friend got hurt in California? That's nothing to what's going to happen to you, because Jim Lancaster is the master of the big splash off the top rope, and that's just what we got in store for you. Flat as a pancake. Tell him about it, Big Jim.
Just a minute, before Big Jim goes on, I'm going to tell you something else. I was sitting at ringside. Big Jim ran into the ring while the match was still in progress, not after the match was finished.
Who are they going to believe, you or me, Cannon? I built a reputation of honesty, integrity, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Jim Lancaster would not stoop to attack a man from behind. This is your next United States champion. I wanted the United States champion in my stable, and this is the man that's going to get it for me. Right, Jim?
That's right. I have met Bobo Brazil. Our feud goes back a long time, George. We've got him in Toledo. The title's on the line. I don't need to attack anybody from behind. Bobby Colt was hurting. I just wanted to help him out of the ring.
There you go, Big Jim Lancaster, Bobo Brazil, Toledo.
Mesdames, Messieurs, notre troisième combat aujourd'hui, our third match today. Les étoiles de la lutte qui présentent cette fois-ci dans le coin gauche. Il s'agit de Burlington, Vermont, à 210 livres, à 210 pounds, de Tony Ricco. Et maintenant, dans l'autre coin, de Niagara Falls, à 244 livres, à 244 pounds, Tony Parisi. Et l'arbitre, André Roy.
Here we go, wrestling fans. Tony Parisi, the cannonball, the other half of the International Tag Team Champion, combination of Gino Brito and Tony Parisi, going in against 210-pound Tony Ricco from Burlington, Vermont. And I have a feeling that in this match, we are going to see a lot of scientific holds and a lot of trading and a lot of exchanging of different moves and go-behinds and switch-outs and a lot of good moves. Looks like it's coming up, right?
Tony Ricco's a young, upcoming wrestler, and the important thing, you can look at him, he spends times in the gym, he wants to learn, he gives 100%, and he goes out there, and every time you wrestle, you see improvement. That's very encouraging, because that's the way a young man should feel about competing. Every time he goes out there, he improves himself. That's a nice switch. Beautiful takedown. You know, when you look at Tony and Parisi and Gino Brito, they're tag team champions, but this is the fourth time they actually hold the tag team belts as partners. They held the first one was back in the early 60s in Tennessee. They were Mid-Atlantic State champions. Then they were twice Worldwide Wrestling Federation tag team champions out of New York City, and now they hold the International Tag Team Championship. So it's a great, great combination. They've been champions for years and years, and it's a credit to have them in professional wrestling.
Something else that you didn't mention is that you also are part of this Italian connection.
Well, you know, for some reason, there's a lot of Italian wrestlers around the area. There was, if you go back, there was Dominic Danucci, Tony Parisi, Gino Brito, Bruno Sammartino, and myself, and that was the Italian connection, the five of us. And there seemed to be at different places at different times, but we do get together. That's why they call us the connection.
I see. But Tony Parisi happened to mention it when he was out here last week, that you and Gino and himself are now known as the Italian connection in different areas where you three of you wrestle together.
Dominic is retired, just retired about a month ago. Bruno's retired, so I guess there's just the three of us left.
Well, it looks like it's whittling down.
Connection is going down.
Any retirement in the plans for Dino Bravo?
Not in the near future.
Not in the near future. Well, you have it right from the mouth of Dino Bravo. He has no intentions of retiring. And you're going to see a lot more of Dino. Incidentally, some other thing that I think we should bring to the wrestling fans' attention, we very seldom talk about this. We talk about wrestlers working out in the gymnasium, Dino, but we've heard that you have accomplished something in bench presses that very few people are able to do, and that's break the 500-pound mark.
That's right. You know, for some reason, people enjoy powerful wrestlers. A lot of times, some wrestlers are not that powerful, but they do have a lot of talent, and they get their takes done, they get wins. But people are impressed by natural strength, and it did help me a lot in my career because I do use a lot of strength. But this year, George, I'm going to make you a promise, and all the fans a promise. I want to be the first man in my body weight to bench press 600 pounds, and I want to do that in March. And I want to do it right here on TV. Yes. And that would be a world record for a 248 pound man. The only man that did it weighs over 300 pounds, so that would be a world record.
I haven't done it in a long time, so it doesn't mean as much. Well, I'll tell you, Tony Ricco sure is giving a good account of himself in there with Tony Parisi, because he is in with a champion, and he hasn't stepped back so far in this match.
He'll go there and he'll fight his heart out. That's why I have a lot of respect for that young kid. He'll go there and he's got. But Parisi is a veteran, a Cajun one, and he won't break the rules. But when it's time to get things done, I think Parisi I want to predict that Parisi may come out on top of this match, even if it's a 10-minute mark. All is Ricco's got to wish and hope is to last that 10 minutes.
Well, it would be an accomplishment for Ricco.
That's right. It would give him a lot of encouragement. If he can last 10 minutes with Tony Parisi, he's proven something.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a match, say like this here, where it's a 10-minute bout, you're in there with a young fellow who hasn't tried to get cute with you, say like a Tony Ricco, who has tried to exchange holds with you, and you find that, hey, I can beat this guy just about any time now, but he's such a nice guy and he's trying to better himself so much. Have you ever let anybody go to 10 minutes with you?
Not if I can help it, George. I have to admit it. Even if it's a nice guy, I forget about that in the ring. I go out there and I try to win matches. It's my job to do that, yes.
I didn't know how you would answer that, but I thought that maybe you would say that...
No, I can't do that. Nobody did that for me. I'm not going to do it for nobody.
No, I didn't mean I thought you would say exactly what you did say. I know you too well. Well, the worm has turned, so to speak.
Can I reverse that question? Would you have done that in your career?
In my career?
Yes.
Well, for the wrestling fans who remember when I wrestled, I didn't give very many people too much of an opportunity when they were in the ring with me.
That's right. I remember that, too. I knew the answer, too.
Squash them like bugs. That's the name of the game. Look, if a boxer comes up and he tells you, and he goes into the ring...
And I'm not going to hit you. He's not a boxer.
He's not a boxer, no.
If I'm going to play hockey, I don't want to score goals. I might as well stay home.
Wow.
I love to score.
I thought you did, yes.
But this is competition, George. I think even if you... A lot of times, the only man I'm not going to wrestle is Gino Brito. Anybody else, I'll go in the ring and wrestle.
You have never wrestled, Gino?
I would never sign a contract like that. Never. That would be working against my own emotions.
Well, one thing I did find hard, and people ask this question too,
is if I was wrestling, let's say, in Kansas City, and I signed a contract to wrestle in Los Angeles, and most of the time you don't even inquire who your opponent is going to be. You sign that contract, you send it back to the promoter.
That's right.
And you get up there and you look across on the other side of the ring, and here is a guy who's a good friend of yours. And when something like that happens, this is the most difficult time. I found that it was the most difficult thing for me to stand and see a fellow who I liked and admired and respected. And that only lasted for a short time. 2 or 3 minutes into the match, and we were tearing at each other's throats, of course. But it would be shocking to me. My first reaction was, what the hang did I do here? I'm in with a guy who's a nice guy, and he's trying to make a living too. And I started thinking like that. And you have to stop yourself and psych yourself the other way.
That's right, Joe. It happened to me. Let me give the best example I can give you. In 1978, I had an opportunity to break in Worldwide Wrestling Federation. I was in the South then, and superstar Billy Graham was the world champion at the time. And Vince McMahon, the promoter in New York, told me, well, you'll have an opportunity in the next 60 days to sign an open contract, and you'll wrestle Billy Graham for the world's title. And that was the greatest opportunity for me in my first 7 years in wrestling. But what happened in the meantime, Bob Backlund defeated Superstar Graham for the title. Here I am in New York City, and the Superstar Graham is not the champion anymore. So they asked me the question, were you going to wrestle Backlund for the world's belt? I said yes, but then it wasn't made that way. There was a contract was signed with Billy Graham, so it was the only opportunity I had to win a major title at that time.
3 minutes.
It happens.
3 minutes remaining in this 10-minute match. And up to this point, Tony Ricco has given a very good account of himself.
This is unreal. He's really, I'm telling you, he's giving it 100% out there. And don't sell him short. The kid's got a heart of a lion.
Well, Parisi knows he's been in the bout. Regardless of what,
exactly.
He knows he's been in the bout.
They're fighting out there.
At this point right now, Dino, I would have to say, if Tony would lose, I'm talking to Tony Ricco, if he would lose right now, he has accomplished something.
Of course he did. Competing with Tony Parisi is something. Tony's taking his time, I think he's... Boy, he hit him a ton there.
Oh, here we go.
There's a Pat O'Connor roll-up. I don't know if that's going to...
Oh, he got him. Winner the fall. The match, Tony the Cannonball Parisi, and now the official announcement from...
Le vainqueur de ce combat, Tony Parisi, the winner.
You wrestling fans in Toledo last time seen a lot of action, a lot of excitement, and of course we've seen the return of one of the most popular wrestlers that have ever put on a pair of trunks in the Toledo area. I'm talking about Flying Fred Curry. Curry's opponent that night was Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., and unfortunately at ringside at the same time was Chris Carter, who was being aligned with Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. The outcome of the match is that Graham got back into the ring before the 10 count. Fred didn't. Fred, what's going to happen next time?
Well, first of all, George, you were there, and all the fans in Toledo seen what I did to Jerry Graham. Now, if he needs Chris Carter to be in his corner to protect that 10-cent body of his, he could have him. But I'm going to have Greg Wojciechowski in my corner, and he's going to be handcuffed to that Chris Carter, and there will be no interference. And that is all I need, because once I get Jerry Graham in that corner, one-on-one, it's going to be all over for him. I'm going to promise the fans in Toledo, and I will not let him down. When he's in that ring, he's mine, and there'll be no more Jerry Graham.
So what you're saying, the contract is already signed?
It's already signed. Chris Carter's handcuffed to Greg Wojciechowski, the Olympic champion. This way, I am sure of it. The people out there will be sure there'll be no interference. There'll be no Chris Carter. There'll be nobody to protect that Jerry Graham. And that's all I want, is that Jerry Graham in that ring with me.
A lot of the wrestling fans know when Chris Carter is wrestling, of course, Jerry Graham is out there. And when Jerry Graham is wrestling, Chris Carter's out there. And there's always all kind of interference. And I think, Fred, that you've got the key here. By handcuffing Chris Carter to Greg Wojo at ringside, you will be able to go face-to-face, one-on-one with Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. right here in Toledo. And I think that's going to be a very exciting match, because you won't have to worry about Carter on the outside.
That's right. Well, all I can say, you fans be there, because I'm going to be ready for this man.
There you have it, Toledo, another exciting match, Curry versus Graham.
Mesdames, Messieurs, notre 4e combat aujourd'hui. En 4th match. On le reconnaît un peu tout de suite derrière moi. Il vient de Tokyo, Japon. À ma gauche, Monsieur Ito, mesdames, messieurs, 265 livres, 265 pounds. Il est d'origine inconnue, from parts unknown. À 239 livres, à 239 pounds, le Destroyer. Et l'arbitre, André Roy.
Intelligent Destroyer going against Mr. Tito.
He's another great talent from the United States, Destroyer from the United States. They're locking up real solid here. Oh, big chop from Tito.
A good match, Dino, because they look like they're very evenly matched at this point, and when that type of match comes up, you have excitement. That's right. Hito from Japan, and of course, a super intelligent Destroyer.
Destroyer is the type of wrestler that is not the type of wrestler that's a powerhouse, but he's wrestling strong. What I'm talking about, he can go out there and grab a hold and really hurt you. Not with really his power, but he knows how to apply hold, how to use his balance, and how to use your own balance against yourself. He's a real mechanical wrestler. George, I don't know if you get to mention, but I think a lot of people just started to follow wrestling. You know, I'd like to mention that Billy Robinson is right now their international champion, and the tag team champions are Tony Parisi and Gino Brito, and the worldwide wrestling champion is Bob Backlund. The reason I mention this is because they're all going to be wrestling in the area, and I think it's good to mention once in a while who's who in wrestling. And they're the big names to remember right now.
We get a lot of letters from fans asking, who is this current champion, who is that current champion, and they like to know what's happening. Bobo Brazil, of course, is the U.S. heavyweight champion.
That's right.
The Canadian champion, Greg Rojo, and as you mentioned before, the other champions, the international tag team champions, and so forth. And all of you wrestling fans watching Superstars of Wrestling will be seeing these great names coming into the in the near future.
They come from all over.
International wrestling at its best on Superstars of Wrestling.
Ito just came back from a tournament in Germany. He won a gold medal. So he's no slut. He goes out there and he's a wrestler. And you can tell by the way he's built. He's a wrestler. A lot of good wrestlers come out of Japan.
Well, I was telling Tony Parisi last week that when I first went to Japan, 1953, 1 out of every 10 Japanese wrestlers was able and competent. And today, 99 out of 100.
That's right.
It's good.
What they did is that they brought in the right coaches, and they schooled them right with people like Carl Gotch, and I hate to mention, but Billy Robinson was there for many years.
And Destroyer.
Whether we like it or not, Destroyer was there for 6-7 years straight. And whether we like it or not, the people we're mentioning are just super talented in our business.
Well, there's a lot of time you don't agree with the way a man wrestles with his style, but you have to admit that he has the knowledge, he has the ability. He's not in the ring because somebody said to him, hey, you're a nice guy, so you get in there. As you mentioned many times before, you don't pick champions, you pick challengers.
That's right. You see, the reason, the only thing I can say about Robinson that I really don't like, and which he gets away with, and they're going to come up with a special rule for him, he gets out of the ring a lot. Every time he's in trouble, he gets out of the ring. I remember wrestling him in Montreal not too long ago, and it was a championship match, and that was my title, which he stripped me back in July, and that was my first chance to get it back. And Robinson spent at least 7 or 8 minutes outside the ring. He always broke the count of 10, but he must have went out of that ring at least 21 times, Omar Marshall told me. So 21 times out of the ring in one match is just taking the chance of your opponent away to beat him. So I think they should come out with a special ruling about that, George.
Well, this is why they have cage matches. A lot of fans ask, why do they have Texas Death Match
where the wrestlers stand around lumberjack match.
That's right.
Why do they have cage matches? Sometimes you have to have this type of match to contain the individual who you're wrestling with.
So the rules are made that way, but a lot of people abuse them. There's no rules that say, well, if you go out of the ring, you got to be back by the count of 10. But it doesn't say how many times you can leave the ring. You can actually leave it as many times as you want, as long as you break the count of 10. But I think if you're a competitor, you're supposed to be there and stay in the ring and try to beat your opponent.
Do you think they'll ever make a rule
well, right now we're working on it because he's a champion, and I think it represents very badly the championship by doing that. Every time he's in trouble, he walks out of the ring.
You can't do it, you know. You know why? I'll give you an example. In baseball, they have sometimes about they deliberately foul off 10 or 15 pitchers in a row. And sometimes somebody stepped up and said, hey, listen, there should be a limit. 6 foul balls and you're out, or 10 foul balls or something. You can't put a limit on as many foul balls as you want to hit.
The same thing with
the same thing with wrestling. You're not going to stop going on the floor unless you put a cage on the ring.
What it does, Joe, it just takes away from what's going on. If people get aggressive and the fans are hot, I think it takes away from the competition.
You know that, and I know that, but it's still one of the rules that you're going to have difficulty to enforce.
Exactly.
Because then you're going to have to say, well, how you can't throw them out. A lot of places have stopped wrestlers from being thrown out over the top rope by disqualifying the man who throws the wrestler out.
But that's another way of cutting a match short, but at least that's a little more difficult to do. I mean, you have to throw your opponent over the third rope. I mean, that's work there, but just to walk out of the ring, anybody can do that.
That's a beautiful
nice small package, but it's in the ropes.
I think Destroyer's getting a little upset.
Yeah, I really enjoyed to watch him wrestle. You look at him, look at the size of his legs, the way he's built. He's got the build of a wrestler, and he is that. He is some kind of wrestler.
Less than 5 minutes remaining in this match.
There's a karate kick. Ooh, I think that cut his win out. He hit him hard.
I surprised the Destroyer because he was preparing to give him a backdrop.
Ooh, but that was the second time he tried. I guess with a guy like Tito, if you don't do it the first time, don't try it the second time, because he got smart to it, and that's what happened there.
Nice body
slam. Brought him out real hard.
Oh, I think we're going to see something coming up now.
He went for a figure 4. Tito got out of it with a chop.
He timed that beautifully, you must admit.
Another slam. Boy, he took him down hard again. He's going to go for the flying headbutt. That's one of his favorite moves. That's it.
1 minute on 3 minutes.
3 minutes remaining in this match.
Oh, heavy knee drop right in the chest.
There we go.
It's locked in now. There's no way out of this. That's locked in solid. It's in.
That's it. The winner of the fall and the match, the super intelligent Destroyer.
Le vainqueur, the winner, the Destroyer.
We've been telling you wrestling fans in the Detroit area about all the excitement that's coming to Detroit's Cobo Arena March the 19th, opening up the 1983 season. When you hear the wrestling card for that night, you're going to be as excited as I am. In the main event on that night, we'll see Billy Robinson, the international champion, putting his title on the line against Bobo Brazil. That's right, Bobo Brazil will be going against Billy Robinson, and in his corner, of course, will be Lord Alfred Hayes. Another very exciting match on that card will be a 6-man tag where we bring in the Italian connection, and that will be Dino Bravo, Gino Brito, and Dominic DeNucci. They will be going against the threesome of Gilles the Fish Poisson, the Hangman, and luscious Johnny Valiant. And I have to not tell you who will be in the corner of these three wrestlers. It'll be Eddie Creatchman.
Yes, it's going to be very nice to go back to the Motor City at Cobo Hall to send all my great wrestlers, my protégés, back to the Motor City. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. I am anxious to go to the Motor City myself, and I'm going to be there. I just can't wait, George Cannon, to get there, because Gilles the Fish, Poisson, the Valiant, and the Boro are going to give those Italians a nice ride for their money. And I want you to know, and I want all the wrestling fans to know, that I haven't changed. I'm the same Eddie the Brain Creatchman that I was when I went there before, and I'm coming back the same way. So you better all be ready, because I'm pretty sure you're going to hear bells all over like we used to. And now I'm going to the gym with my men to make sure that they come into Cobo Hall in shape, and we'll be there.
There you have it. Don't forget, Detroit's Cobo Arena, March the 19th.
Attaquant à l'équipe, Poisson le Bourron. First foul.
Here we go. Foul number 2. Hangman in the corner with Dan Ferris, the pretty boy from Hollywood, Florida, weighing 215 pounds, gives away a lot of weight to the Hangman. Here's a tag, and now we're going to see Tony Russo, the compact, 238-pound tagger from Mexico City, who's going crazy in there right now, dropping the 300-pound Poisson, trying to fly and mirror the Hangman, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Couple of interested fans right now. There's a tag made by Hangman to Poisson. Poisson comes in the ring, delivering punches to the midsection and tackle blocks to Russo. And I'm wondering if Russo is sorry that he tagged at this present time. While the Hangman's holding on the back of his trunks, nothing else. Russo will learn a few more holds. Wow, a body block coming from Poisson in the form of a tackle. Russo moved out of the way, comes back with an armbar, and flips the 300-pound Gilles the Fish Poisson to the mat. This tag team action winding up, another card of very good action. We see Gino Bravo, Gino Brito, Tony Parisi, Mr. Hito Destroyer, winding all the action up. His tag team action. 2 minutes remaining in this curfew match. 1-0 for the Hangman and Poisson. As once again they double team pretty boy Dan Ferris in their corner. I would venture to say at this time and point in the match that the winners will be Hangman and Poisson. But at this point, it looks pretty bad for Russo and Ferris. 1 minute remaining as we count down. We're watching Edward Carpentier there. Poisson struggling with Ferris as he tags Russo. And we're coming down. This match is all over. The curfew match is won by Poisson and Hangman.
Wrestling fans in the Detroit area, we're very happy to tell you about that main event coming up on March the 19th with Billy Robinson and Bobo Brazil. And like we said, another very exciting match on that card. And you wrestling fans in the Detroit area have been asking for the top and superstars, and you're going to get them on March the 19th. And this match we're talking about is a 6-man tag. One half will be the Italian Connection, Dominic DeNucci, Dino Bravo, and Gino Brito. The three fellas that they will be going against: the Hangman, Gilles, the Fish Poisson, Luscious Johnny Valiant. There should be a lot of excitement. Dino, Gino?
Well, of course there will be. We will reunite with Dominic DeNucci. As you know, Dino, to me, in my books right now, is probably the greatest Italian wrestler going, probably that ever was. I don't care. There have been some great ones like Bruno Sammartino, but I think Dino's got everything going for him. Plus what he's got that others had the strength, he's also got the speed, the agility, and the know-how. And with Dino in my corner, I know that these guys are in for a lot of trouble, George. And I'm happy to go back to Detroit. I haven't been there now in a few years. We're going back there, and we mean business.
Well, that exciting match that we're talking about, Dino?
It's a little bit of a celebration because, you know, although the Italian Connection's been going on since 1972, the Grand Prix days, the first time we got together, it happened 11 times. I counted it because I keep a book on my matches with Dominic, Gino, and myself. 11 matches we had as a 6-man tag, and then we had 11 wins. But I think this is really going to be a test. We're talking about 3 super athletes, a Hangman.
Plus Creatchman.
Exactly. And this is going to be a test, but we're trying to make it a dozen and celebrate that night in Detroit.
And there you have it, wrestling fans. Don't forget, Detroit's Cobo Arena, a lot of excitement, March the 19th. We promised you a gala night. We're going to have it. Don't forget, be there and celebrate with us for the '83 season.